And with that, take it away, Sue.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. And thanks everyone for joining us and spending some time with us. So my name is Sue Rogan. And again, we are going to be going over maximizing your money. So I want to start with just a little brief background of who I am and the organization that I work for. I work for the Cash Campaign of Maryland. CASH stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope. We are a statewide nonprofit that really works to provide programs and services to help people build their financial health or their financial stability. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the programs that you could take advantage of. We have free tax preparation for families who earn under $58,000 a year, and we have this across the state. And we really try to provide this service not only to help people get their taxes done and not have to pay for it, but also to make sure we can connect you to other services at that time. So the different partners that we work with and our sites in Baltimore City, when you go there to have your taxes done, you can find out more about our other programs. Some of our partners are actually having people pull their credit reports, or they might be connecting them to local resources. So it's really a valuable time to not only get taxes done, but to get connected to other services. We have financial education. These are classes that are listed on the Cash Academy website, which is www.mdcashacademy.org. And the reason that we do this service is that we know it's hard to learn about money. We're going to be talking about it today, but generally speaking, it is difficult to discuss this with friends and family. We don't really go over to our neighbors and say, hey, how are you doing with your retirement savings, right? We don't talk about money much, and it's hard to learn about it. So we provide webinars such as this and others on our website. They're all virtual still right now, many of which are recorded, so you can take a look at them whenever you want to. So please check out the website and see if there's other topics around personal finance that you would look to learn some information on. We also offer a program to help people get screened for public benefits. For over 22 different public benefits, not only do we help people understand if they're eligible for them, but we actually help them assisting going through the application, which sometimes can be a little tricky and a little confusing. So our staff actually help people go through the application process. We also have financial coaching and financial planning program. Our financial coaching program is where you can work one-on-one with a coach to set your personal financial goal. And the coach doesn't tell you what to do or give you any advice, but they're going to walk with you during that journey of meeting that goal. They're going to provide the motivation and the just support that many of us need to actually keep working on our goals. Our financial planning program is where you can work with a certified financial planner or CFP. They are donating their time to us to work with people to create a customized individual financial plan. So you meet with the financial planner twice, the first time to kind of assess and ask questions, the second time they will present you with your personal plan. We also have different financial fitness fairs across the state. We do a lot of advocacy and work with elected officials to pass laws to help people that we work with and that need the assistance from legislation. And lastly, we have a Bank on Maryland program, which offers what we call certified bank accounts. These are bank accounts that 12 different financial institutions across Maryland have created to basically be of assistance to people who may have had maybe some difficulty in the past working with a bank or a credit union, or not really sure why it's actually beneficial to work with one. So these accounts do not allow overdraft fees. They have very low balances to get into or to keep them open. So they're really just a helpful bank account to get connected to a financial institution. So that's a little bit about the Cash Campaign, and certainly feel free to ask any questions or reach out to me. But I'd first like to hear from you all. What do you think of, and please put this in the chat, when you hear the word money? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear this?
We've got bills.
Definitely need to pay bills.
Green, saving.
Yay. We're going to talk about bills and saving today. Thank you for putting these information in.
Someone says, I need more of it.
Don't we all? Not the truth. Well, thank you for this, because the more that we can actually be comfortable talking about money, I think the more that we can actually be comfortable and focus on maybe how we can reduce stress around money. So it's important as much as you can with your friends and your family and your whole network and your community to actually talk about money. So For a long time in our field, we've been trying to say, what is success like when we feel comfortable with our money, when we have less stress over it? What does this mean? And some organizations may really track credit score or amount of savings, as we mentioned in the chat, or if someone has a spending plan. And so what happened is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is a federal government agency that regulates financial transactions, actually did surveys of thousands of Americans to say, when everything is going well with you and your money, what does that mean? And so they came up with this definition of financial well-being. And I'm just going to read it for you, but you can see it. It is a state of being where a person is meeting their current and ongoing obligations, have secured the future, and my favorite part, are able to make choices to enjoy life. And what this translates into is that we're able to manage our day-to-day finances. I can pay my bills. I can pay my bills on time. I have enough money coming in versus what's going out. I'm able to get my groceries, be in a secure housing, so I can handle day-to-day financial life. It also means I can absorb financial shocks. And that's where we're going to get to the savings part, because life happens. A car breaks down, an appliance breaks down. I have dogs, they get sick, things happen that we need that extra money for, because if we don't, that means we're going to incur debt. We're able to meet our financial goals. And it's important to take time to think about what you want to do with your money. Sometimes life is just busy and we're just going from day to day, and we're sort of just, going from paying something to work to paying something else and not thinking about, what do we want to do with our money? Do we need to buy a car or want to buy a car? Do we want to have a vacation sometime? What are those goals that we need to think about? Because it makes steps to get to those goals. Just because we say, I want to buy a car, doesn't mean I can buy a car today. It means I need to take steps in terms of getting my credit score in a gooder place, getting my savings in place, doing my research on the car. What are the steps I need to take to actually reach that goal? But taking time to think about what goals you have with money first, and then going through that process. And then lastly, again, my favorite part, having the ability to make choices to enjoy life. That's really important, whether it's a small amount of money or not. Just making sure we're thinking about, how is money enabling us to have these choices? So this is a definition of financial well-being that was researched. And oftentimes I take time personally, as well as people that I'm working through, to go through these 4 pieces and say, how am I doing on them? Am I able to pay my bills on time? If not, what do I need to change? Do I have savings in place? What do I need to change if I don't? What are my goals? Am I making my steps towards working towards them? And am I actually enjoying life by using some of my funds to do what I want? And so the first place to start when we talk about maximizing our money, or reducing stress around money, or just getting control over our money, is actually not taking the time immediately to go into how much is coming in versus how much is going out. We're going to get there, but the first step is actually to think about, what is the psychology behind our financial decision makings? So some of the things I wanted to share with you is a field that's now called behavioral economics. And this is a field of study that's been around long enough that we have some research around it to show us some of the actual behaviors that we're doing around financial decisions. So behavioral economics is taking the field of psychology and decision-making around finances and putting them together. So there's one concept I wanted to share with you today, is called appealing to the right identity. You'll see in the word cloud here, we have a lot of different roles in our life. We may be a daughter, sister, father, cousin, friend. I put dog owner in there because, again, I have dogs, and that is a big identity for me. Maybe a daughter, coach, coworker, all the different ones here we list. And sometimes what we've seen by research is we make a decision in that identity or that role versus the identity of the one who is really the head of household, or the master of my dollars, the budget role, the spending plan role. So some examples of this might be, for example, personally with me, again, I have dogs. So sometimes I've made decisions in the past of where I buy toys that they need, I feel they need, right? I buy treats, I buy stuff that, they don't actually really need, but I think they need. And I'm making that decision because these, pups are really my babies now. My kids are grown and gone. So they're really something that I'm really attached to. But I have to take a look sometimes and say, how much am I spending in this role? And am I okay with this? And I will tell you, oftentimes I have not been, and I've had to make my changes. Other examples might be as a coworker. Sometimes if you are working and your coworkers want to go out to lunch with someone and that wasn't in your spending plan, sometimes we do it anyway because that's the role we're in. But taking time to identify when we're making a financial decision, am I in the role that is really the best suited for guarding my dollars? Or am I making this decision because a family member is saying, hey, let's go do this? Or can I borrow some money when I really don't have money to give to them? So thinking through when we're making that decision, what role are we in, and trying as much as possible to be in the role of the one who's guarding every single one of our dollars. Another concept is studies have shown that we generally make purchases in our current self with our current viewpoint and needs versus thinking about our future self. And if we take some time maybe to stop and hesitate first and say, hold on, would my self 20 years from now want me to make this decision and buy this? Or would it want me to hold off and maybe put some more money in savings? So taking again some time to think about when you're in that moment of purchase, why am I doing this? Is it going to be beneficial for me down the road, or is it going to be harmful for me because I may not have that money to buy that car that I wanted because I'm spending it today? And then lastly, I really wanted to go into money values and money habits. So money values are a belief. And sometimes we don't consciously think about it as being a belief that whatever we want to buy, whatever service we want to use is really important to us. So for example, we may need a car to get around, but what kind of car, how much we spend on gas, how much we go around is a money value. Same thing with a home. We need to live somewhere that's safe and secure, but depending on where that is, how many things we put in it, how many decorations we get for the different holidays, those are all money values. And money habit is sort of just a routine spending of money without really thinking about it. We just kind of goes out and we don't really consciously say, oh, I'm going out to lunch again. It's just kind of a habit thing. We're just doing it. So example could be getting fast food, going out to eat, maybe even savings could be a habit. But the point is to acknowledge and to think about what are our money values and what are our money habits, and are they working for us or are they not? So what we're going to do is a quick activity for a word cloud. So I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint for a moment and go to a website that I'm putting in the chat for you all. So there's a link in the chat to a tool that creates a word cloud. And I'm going to go share it. So if you can take time to click on that and put in what do you think would be an example of a money value or a money habit. And what we'll see is, as we are all putting in different ideas, and you can put in multiple ones, they will appear on the word cloud. So let me get to this. Okay. And can I confirm, Nora, that we're seeing the word cloud tool with the sentence, what are money values and habits?
Yep, I can see it.
Great. All right. So if everyone can go to the website and then type an idea of what you think a money value or a money habit is, it will show up here in real time with the words coming in. They're going to make a word cloud. Ah, thank you very much. Carefulness, thriftiness. So money value and a money habit, sure. Budget, saving, coupons. And think about some things that you buy that might be a habit for you. Is it organic food? Is it getting coffee once in a while? Is it using Uber or Lyft? What are things that you buy that could show you as a money value or a money habit? So we'll see if a few more come in, and then we'll go over some examples. All right, well, thank you all very much for putting those in. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and we will go over some examples. All right, and can I just confirm that we are back to the PowerPoint?
Yep, we are. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so some examples of money values could be clothing. We all need to wear something, but how much of it is we have, what we spend for it, where we buy it, those are money values. Same thing with memberships. A lot of people have told me in the past that they really want to be involved with a membership with a gym because working out is very important to them. That's a money value. Insurance can be a money value. I know other people have shared with us that they really valued life insurance because they've seen what happened to the people in their lives when their family members passed away and did not have life insurance. So that becomes a big money value to them. Personal grooming, whether we do our hair, nails, whatever it is, that's a money value. Going on vacation is, and certainly retirement funds as well. And some examples of money habits are eating out. That's one of the biggest ones that most Americans have as terms of a habit, is going out to eat, whether it's bringing stuff in the house or whether it's actually eating out at a restaurant. Getting coffee whenever it is, how many times. I had a lady I was coaching who came back to me the second month after our first meeting and said, I need to put candy as a line item in my spending plan because that's a money habit for me. So we just added it in and she made sure that she was comfortable with how much she was spending on it. Going to movies or getting all the streaming services that we have, again, using rideshare services and savings. So these are just some examples of money values and habits. And it's important for us to each recognize what they are and again, make sure they're working for us. So if it fits in our budget for what we're spending on it, that's awesome. Keep it there. But if not, and you notice that that's more money going towards a particular habit that maybe you'd rather that money going somewhere else, maybe think about getting that particular item or service less frequently, or find a way to get it at a lower cost, or just find a whole different substitute item or service that doesn't cost as much as the original one. Coming down to the bottom line is, it's your money and your decision. Other people shouldn't be telling any of us how to spend our money, but we want to make our dollars work for us other than just working for dollars. Now let's talk about budget and spending plan. If you can in the chat, just add in what you think of when you hear the word budget. What's kind of the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear that word?
Someone says anger.
Thank you for the open and honest answer.
Limit. Constricting.
Yeah. These are, I hear these all the time, and
Someone says planning.
Okay, got it. So even when I've been in person with classes, the minute I say that B word, people tend to kind of turn away and won't look at me because it somehow has that connotation of, I'm not going to be able to do everything I want to do. So what we really try to frame our mind now is saying a spending plan, because we're all spending somehow, some way. Let's just plan it to be the way we want it versus not knowing where it is, or like seeing the calendar here, just like water running through a calendar is sometimes the way money just runs through our life because we're not planning it. So if we take the powerful, I think, viewpoint of doing the spending plan, let's dive into that. So the first thing with a spending plan is to actually track your expenses for a month. Whether you're using a plain old paper, notebook, whatever, an app on your phone, or using something on your computer, it is really important to track everything, every single dollar that is spent for a month. Maybe you're just saving the receipts and kind of lining them up on your desk. Maybe you're keeping a running list, such as this expense tracker here. And the reason I say this is so important is this comes from our research with a coaching program. The coaching program we had ran for 12 months. So the first month, the person and their coach get together, they get to know each other, and the coach asks them, how much are you spending just off the top of your head, just from memory, on these different categories, right? Housing, transportation, groceries, eating out, all the different ones. So the person from the top of their head just puts out numbers. Then they went and tracked expenses for an entire month. And then they came back and met with the coach on month 2. And the coach said, okay, how much do you really spend on these different categories? So most people got their housing correct because most of us know our mortgage or our rent. How many people do you think got it correct for their grocery budget? We'll just stick with one, just a grocery budget. How many people off the top of their head knew how much they were spending actually in a month on groceries? If you don't mind putting that in the chat, just pick a number.
I'm guessing 0.
Bingo. You are all very, very smart with this. Absolutely none. And we had a lot of coaching clients and none of them got that grocery category correct. So it's important to actually do the work to track your expenses, to see where your money is going, and then you can make decisions on where you want it to go. So let's talk a minute quickly about needs versus wants. I think as adults, we all have some sort of idea of what is a need and what is a want. We may or may not know how much we're spending on our wants, but we kind of know sometimes what it is that we're spending and what category it goes in. But I just want to take a second to talk about a particular category, say groceries. Are groceries a need or a want? If you can drop that in the chat, that would be great.
Someone says both. Someone else says need. Need. Some items are needed, some are wants.
Awesome. You are all correct, right? We have to eat something. But even within a category that is typically deemed to be a need because we have to eat, there is still that wiggle room between a need and a want. Absolutely. You make a great point there. I'd love to eat everything organic. I can't afford it. So even with every category that you have in your spending plan, take a look to see if you want to cut back on it somewhat and focus more on what is actually really needed and kind of give up some of the wants. So to create the spending plan, first thing you are going to look at is what income is coming in. Is it coming in from benefits, incentives, a side hustle, employment? Is it the same every month or not? It's often not the same. So we're trying to figure out when are those dollars coming in, at what point during the month they're coming in. So I'm making sure we're looking at everything. And sometimes people may not consider when they ride share with someone and that someone helps to pay gas. That's money coming in. So looking at any source of money coming in and looking at that as an income. Then we're going to go through our expenses. So which bills do we pay every single month? Is it rent or the medical expenses, utilities? How much are we willing to spend on groceries? So we're taking a look at what the categories of our expenses are, what kind of them, and then estimating totals. And using these dollar tracking that we did that first month, that helps us inform what these totals are for these different categories. But sometimes there are other expenses that don't come every single month. We call these periodic expenses because they come in every so often. So say, for example, with car insurance, and we're trying to make some math easy for us here, if it costs $600 in June and $600 in December, how much every single month do we need to put away to get ready for that bill? So when June hits, I may not have $600 sitting in my checking account that I can just give out to this big, large bill. How much do I need to put away every single month to get ready for it? If you can drop that in the chat too. Just to maybe help out with math here, that's 6 months. That's 6 months.
Someone says $100.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yes. And that $100 has to come out every single month getting ready for that bill, because it's going to be a big hit if we wait until June to try and cover most of it. And the other tip on this is to put that $100 a month somewhere other than your checking account, because if it's in the checking account, it often just gets sucked out with other things. So maybe putting that to a savings account and keeping track and knowing what you have in your savings account and what for. I actually put some money away every single month for pet expenses because I know they're coming, but I actually keep a track of what's in my savings account, how much is there for pets, how much is there for car repair that I'm getting ready for, and how much be for a vacation. So I don't actually, lose track of what those dollars are there for. And then we're looking at a spending plan. We want to keep some savings in here. And there's a phrase called pay yourself first. What that means is if you wait until the end of the month to put whatever may be left over into your savings, there may not be anything left over. So if we take whatever amount that we're comfortable with, literally if it's $5, $10, $100, whatever it might be, take that out first. And there are a couple of reasons behind this. One is to make sure that there's going to be savings there. But the other is sort of getting back to our psychology piece. Actually being able to do that and make sure we consistently do it builds that savings habit. And it has been shown that people who save at least 6 months in a row continue to save. So it's building that habit that we need to get going. And it gives us a sense of accomplishment as we're starting to see this savings account grow. It's like, yes, I got this done. So it's really important to do that first of the month, take whatever it is that you're comfortable with out and put it away for savings. Maybe we need to save for a rental deposit if we're going to move, a training program if we want more education, an emergency because again, life happens, a car repair, which those always happen, or maybe it's just some awesome sneakers or something you want, that enjoying life piece of it. Just making sure we're putting that savings away because money that you save now will save you later. So what are some tools that you can use to create your spending plan? And the key point, check it all the time. I recommend that people check it every single week, at least every 2 weeks. The reason again is if you wait until the end of the month to check to see if your expenses actually matched up with what you said you're going to spend, it's too late. You can't make any changes. So check it every single week because at some point, maybe you're going to say week 3, oh, I'm really almost done with my grocery money. I better just see what's in the cupboard and stop buying the rest of the groceries for the month. You can make that change and not go over in that category. So some people use just a paper-based, a journal or a notebook. There's Excel or Google. They have templates that you can use. There's computer software if you want to buy that. And there's online tools or apps that are very helpful as well. The only thing to be careful about with either a web-based or a phone app is just to make sure what you know that this company who is providing this software or this app to you, what are they doing with your data? Are they selling your data? Are they protecting your privacy? Is their site secure so that you won't get hacked and your information taken? So just make sure that you're looking at those factors when choosing one. The one here that's listed in this picture is called mint.com. And this is a website that was created by Intuit, who has a lot of different financial software and web-based tools. And Mint, with a tool that you use for this, is you go online, you create your spending plan, you put in your amounts that you're comfortable spending, and then you tie it to any way that you are shopping. Whether it's a credit card, whether it's your checking account for your debit card, you tie it to that. And then when those purchases are made, it drops it into your spending plan. So anytime you can go online and see a very clear picture of where you are with your housing category, your transportation category, your groceries, whatever it might be, you can go online and see that. Now, they do have the same security software that most financial institutions have, but you are tying it to a checking account or a credit card. So just make sure that you're aware of that. And then there's as simple as doing a calendar. So you just take a calendar, whether it's on your phone, whether it's paper-based, you put in when the money's coming in, when the money's going out, when bills are coming in, and then taking a look again at the end of the week to see where am I with my balance. And one of the things that doing at least this exercise can help you with is, see, you may have money coming in on, say, the 6th here, but then your bills are all coming in that very next week, the 9th, 10th, 11th. And maybe you don't have enough income from the 6th to cover all those bills. Well, you can call any of those companies that you have the bills with and see if they will move the due date to a different time when it matches up better with your income. You have the option to do that with anything, whether it's cell phone, electricity, just see if they'll change the due date so you can better match it up to your income. So Nora, with that, I kind of like to pause just for a second and see if we have any questions that I should jump on.
Great. Thank you, Sue. Yes, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat right now.
All right, I'll keep going, but feel free to stop me if any questions come in.
Great, thanks.
All right, and then there's just sample monthly budgets that you can get online where you put your category with your income, your expenses, going down to the very bottom of what is the net. Do I have extra money coming in? Do I have a deficit? If I have a deficit, I need to go back and change some of those expenses, or I need to change the income, because the one thing is it always needs to be more coming in than what's going out. And so we need to talk just a minute about, you probably have heard many financial experts tell people to stop buying Starbucks lattes. And what are your thoughts on experts telling us not to buy certain products? If you want to put that in the chat, that'd be great.
Someone says, nah, my decision.
Absolutely. I really believe that. And I understand the point behind these financial experts saying, because perhaps that particular company and that particular product may be expensive. But to your point, no one should tell us how to spend our money. It's how we want to spend it. And if I want a Starbucks latte and I can afford it, then I should be able to get it. Now, maybe I make the conscious decision that I don't want to do it every single day because of the expense, but maybe the same thing applies to pizza or shoes that I want to buy or anything, right? We're making decisions on our own purchases and our own choice of housing and transportation, not based on what other people are saying, but based on our priorities. What do we find to be the most important? And then we just make sure that it fits in our spending plan. So some things that are typically forgotten about when we create our spending plans are education expenses. Maybe we forget about the books and how expensive they are. Or sometimes even parking fees on campuses are kind of expensive, several $100s a semester, and we forget about them. Car repair is something that's really important to put some dollars every single month away for, because at some point that car is going to break down. So as I said before, I put a certain amount of money away every single month in my savings account. I have a 10-year-old car. I know it's coming. So I want to get ready for it and have some money put away. If you own a pet or a home, you can do the same thing. The pet is going to get sick at some point or need something. The home is going to need a repair. And then people often forget about holiday and gift giving as we're coming up on this season now. And sometimes that derails us because we're getting all these gifts and everything that we didn't really plan the money for. And come January, we now have debt. So trying to get ready for those holidays that are coming up, or birthdays or anniversaries that you know of people in your life, and putting some money away every single month to get ready for those. And then always make sure you put some money in your spending plan for fun. That gets to that last bit of the definition of financial well-being, the choices to enjoy life. So make sure you're always putting some money away. I was working with another lady, coaching her, and she was living with disability income, and she had, supportive housing and everything, but it was very challenging to make everything work on that income. And we were able to figure out how to do it where she had $5 a month to just go and blow. And she did it, and it was fun. She'd go to the dollar stores, she'd go to the consignment stores, she had different places that she went, but she always made sure she had something in there that was enjoyable for her. So in terms of prioritizing expenses, it's important to think about what is the most important expense to you first. Is that food, housing, utilities, transportation? Is it childcare? Sometimes it might be internet or cell phone service, if that is kind of essential to our way to work. And then also taking a look at these automated payments and non-regular expenses, as we talked about, the periodic expenses. Sometimes companies give us a discount if we allow them to take their payment out of our checking account for whatever service it might be. It can be the gym, it can be cell phone, it could be insurance. And one note of caution on that, first of all, is prior to joining Cash, I was an investigator at Montgomery County Office of Consumer Protection. And I found many cases of where a company had that authority from the consumer to take their payment out of the consumer's checking account. But then the consumer said, well, I want to change insurance companies. I don't want to work with this one anymore. I'm going to go to this one. And so they shifted, to the new company, and the old company continued to take out 3 to 4 to 5 payments before it finally got stopped. That actually wrecks somebody's spending plan, because that's $100 or more coming out, and it's going to take a while to get that back. So be cautious before you give a company the right to take money out of your checking account. You can always set up the payment yourself if you do online banking, for you to initiate the payment to them versus them taking it out of your account. But making sure that we know what these payments are. And often, again, times we use a credit card to do like streaming services or cell phone bills, and making sure we know that that money is available that month to pay off the credit card and not carry a balance on the credit card and then have to pay interest. So making sure we're looking at all of our bills and making sure they're accounted for in our spending plan. So I have a worksheet here that, Nora, I can give you the link to it when you send this out to people. You can send this as well. It comes again from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That is a sheet on prioritizing bill when we may be having difficulty paying things on time. So this helps us think through, what are things that I need for a job? What's insurance that I need to pay? And then it goes through different housing and other options too. So it's just a worksheet that can help you if you're having difficulty in paying everything on time. I need to figure out which ones I should pay and really prioritize first, and some of the others I may need to wait on. So a couple of things before we open it up for total questions and answer is we developed this, what we call the SMART method for determining around our finances, whether it's every day or particularly during a time period when we may be struggling to meet all the bills that we have in front of us. So when things get a little difficult, perhaps we need to think about what can we stop or postpone? Is there some bill? Is there some home improvement project? Is there some clothing that we really want, but we can hang on to it for a bit? What can we actually like just not pay? What can we push aside and say, I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to get it right now. Maybe I'll get it later when things get better. Or even if things are all doing, pretty comfortable for you, take a look at your finances and still look at it. I looked at it and found there was actually some magazine subscriptions that I really felt I didn't need anymore. They auto renew, without telling me. So next thing I know, I've got, the next year's subscription on there. I'm like, okay, we're going to stop that. So that's going to come out. So wherever you are with your financial health right now, take a look to see if there's something that you can stop paying for or just push off for a few months. Always monitor, create that spending plan, and make sure you look at it every single week to see how you're doing with it so you can make those changes. It gives you a sense of control and a sense of just sort of reducing the stress level of knowing, okay, I've got this next week, I'm coming up good. I've got this whole month, I'm coming up good. And if there's an area you're like, uh-oh, something just happened, I can make some changes and figure out how to get back on track maybe next month. So always making sure we're tracking where our dollars go so that we can make sure they're going where we want them to versus just flowing out. What are some things we're going to allow ourselves to spend on? Groceries prices have gone up. What can we do about that? We're going to be spending it, but what can we do to maybe reduce it? Maybe some other expenses you think about allowing might be, school expenses if you have children in school, or home improvement if you need to do something to modify your home to be more comfortable. What things are you going to allow? But of those things you're going to allow, are there some ways you can reduce them? Can you get them at a different cost point? And the last thing in our SMART method is to talk about money. Make sure that you have a trusted network, even just a friend, family member, someone that you can talk to if you have money concerns, because it just helps us to really reduce again and improve our mental health if we're able to talk about what's going on with our finances and getting ideas and support from other people. So try not to feel like you're alone in this journey, but it involves someone else. And then I can never end a webinar on maximizing your money without talking about ways to protect your money. As I explained before, I was an investigator with consumer protection, and I could just tell when someone had been victimized by a scam or even made a poor consumer decision, how much that affected their finances. So we really want to make sure that all of us are thinking about ways to avoid losing money to scams and making the best consumer decision we can. So a couple of things that have come up recently, there's been a lot of news in the press about student loans, whether it's the public student loan, the public service loan forgiveness program, or the new legislation that the Biden administration put out to sort of dismiss some of the student loan burden that people have. This has resulted in a rise in scam artists saying, we can help you apply for this program. If you give us money, we'll get you into this program. So they're actually taking money from people to provide assistance, which they're not providing. And all those different programs are free. They are open to the public. So making sure we're not paying for things or falling victim to a scam by someone saying they could help us with our student loans. Imposter scams and identity theft just really dramatically increased over the pandemic through 2020 and 2021. Imposter scams are where someone is pretending to be someone else and basically getting dollars from you. The popular one is the grandparent scam, or whatever kind of friend or family member saying someone to you, I'm in dire straits, I've been arrested, I'm overseas, I've been kidnapped. Literally, some of them said they've been kidnapping people and I need you to send money right now. Those are imposter scams, and you will never get that money back, and it is not helping the person that the person is appearing to be in your life. Identity theft is, again, dramatic increase in the last 2 years with this. So we want to be very careful of where anyone can get to our personal information And this means even small pieces of data, right? We all know not to give our social security number out over the phone or checking account or credit cards, because we never know who that person is on the other phone or the text or the email that we've received. But now even just little pieces of information are being collected on us, such as birthday. I got a call from alleging someone to be my pharmacy saying that my prescription was ready to be refilled. And I was like, no, it's not. And they went on to say, if you just confirm your birthday, then we can fulfill your prescription refill. I'm like, you're not getting my birthday, because what the thieves are doing is getting information from us and putting together a profile. So little pieces of data matter just as much. So don't give out any personal information to anyone contacting you. If you're contacting your doctor's office, you know that that's legitimate. You can give them your information. But anyone contacting you in the various different ways, we're not giving out any information whatsoever. And the one thing I want to highlight too is that if anyone is asking you to pay anything with a gift card, that is going to be a scam, and you do not want to go get that. We have a lot of debt collectors that are calling people, whether it's scam or not, saying you need to go get a gift card to pay for this. That is going to be something that you're going to lose that money from the gift card. And we want to make sure that you know not to do that. So with that, Nora, I'll just pause to see if there's questions on different ways to protect your money, or the SMART method that we talked about, or spending plans.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again. And I wanted to mention that after that I heard your presentation about this last year, I joined Mint, and that's been a really helpful tool for me to kind of track my spending and just have a little bit more control over it.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
I personally use it as well. I also use an Excel spreadsheet because I want to see the entire year picture. So I tend to use two different tools.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I did want to close with some resources. The National Disabilities Institute has an amazing financial resilience center. So their website has great resources and tips and videos for people to see. And then again, our Cash Academy has different videos. We're actually going to do a revamp of it in the next few months, so it's going to even get more robust. So please check that out. And we're going to have resources there along with recordings and then live webinars too. So I appreciate the time to be here, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful. We've got a question about whether Mint is accessible.
So help me understand what we'd be thinking about with that.
This person says, how do we connect if we have consumers who are blind?
Okay, good question. People can, to reach me directly, people can certainly call. Oh, I'll put my phone number in the chat. Can call, because I know email can be difficult. Phone calls would be helpful. In terms of Mint, it certainly is mobile optimized. It's certainly a website, so a reader would be able to read through some of it. But we'd have to think through how that could be challenging and what we could do to help with that. In the meantime, I'll put my phone number. So hopefully that will be helpful. Well, again, I really appreciate the time to be here today, and for everybody. I hope this was helpful. Certainly helpful to reach out to me individually. I'm certainly happy to talk to you, and I really hope this worked out. And you're about to hear my dog barking.
We're getting lots of thank yous and wonderful presentations, comments like that in the chat. So yes, thank you so much for joining us. And same to everyone attending. And again, feel free to email me for any questions, or if you'd like a copy of the slide deck, or to find out how to log on to our other sessions for the rest of the month. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.